let's talk about discipline real quick because I teach high school, and if you know high school kids, they can get on your nerves. So I admit I've been angry before. I've been angry to a couple students, and unfortunately, I have lost my temper before in the classroom. I have raised my voice in front of children. Well, not yeah. Every teacher at one point in time has lost control, but then they recover. They learn from that experience, and but it's unfortunate. It happens, and you know what? I've been on both sides. I've used positive discipline, which is what I now use, and I have punished students before. I have kicked students out of the room before, and unfortunately, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really work because what I learned from that experience is it changes behavior. It really does. If you tell a student to be quiet and you're serious, it works. They be quiet because they're scared, and they don't want to. Sometimes they do want to challenge the authority, but most of the time they'll put up with it. They don't want to fight you in the classroom, unless they're really like emotional. And I've never had that happen. But you know what happens inside is they don't like it, and they're not convinced. They're not sold on the idea, and you haven't done them a favor at all if you decide to, let's say, yell at them, tell them to not do something, right? Get them to go, pay attention, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that, stop it, stop it, stop it. On the outside, they're like, okay. But on the inside, all they're doing is they're pandering to you. They're following you to get the result that they like. To get the result that they like, which is they don't want to be yelled at, right? They don't want to be yelled at. But as soon as you kind of give them the leeway to do it, and you know what, like yelling at your kid might work when they're like 5 to 10 years old, but when they're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, barring from social pressure of their peers, there really is nothing stopping them from being rebellious. And I'm sure you've had the experience, if you have a teenager, that of them not listening to you, really. And so really, I've recently tried another way, and I think it's worked wonderfully. It's something that I actually learned from Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, all those like personal development coaches from the olden days. And it's really an identity-based method. Like, instead of, like, if I see a student sleeping in class, instead of being like, hey, you're a sleeper in class, you should stop sleeping in class, which by saying that, I've branded them as somebody that sleeps in class. They've kind of internalized that identity, right? Instead of saying that, what I do is, hey, I noticed you're sleeping in class. Hey, that's what happened, but I know you're a good kid. I know you're a good student. I believe in you. I fully trust in you. Let's work this through. Let's work this out. Are you sleeping late? And I try to figure out the cause of the problem. Like, is it too warm? Like what's going on? Did you not eat? Did you eat too much? Right? And so that's kind of the method that I've been trying, and I think it's been working. I think it's had side effects in the sense that now I have a really positive classroom. Like, it's just a really good place to be in because the kids actually are comfortable. They're not afraid that somebody is going to get mad at them because their actions and their dialogues aren't driven based off of fear. They're now in a place where they don't have to worry about what they say, what they do. They just have to understand the goal and then try their best to get there, and understand that there will be support along the way, and that if they screw up, they're not going to be branded as the martyr that sets the example for the classroom. Or if you're doing this to your kids and they have siblings, the martyr that sets the example for the siblings. And so I think that's really important. I think you can only go so far with like punishment, and I think positive reinforcement really goes a long way, especially with concepts you learn from how to win friends and influence people. Sometimes just like a smile goes a long way. Just taking the time to listen and understand the kids go a long way. Sometimes when the kids act out, or like if they're misbehaving in a sense, you know what, just like go up to them and talk to them about something else, right? Just ask them about basketball if they're a basketball player. Ask them about video games if they're a video game player. Ask them about makeup if they like makeup, right? Like just talk to them, have a conversation, show that you're there, show that you're supportive, and then be like, at the end of the 3 minutes, be like, hey, oh, by the way, got some work to do. Let's get back to that. Sorry for distracting you, because I technically walked up to that person and I distracted them. It was my fault, right? So I take ownership of that, and I think then they take ownership of their role in the classroom and their job in this whole ecosystem of growing up, of trying to figure things out. They don't need another kind of source of pressure on them. And so often I see in the eyes of kids that the pressure that they get from their parents, it doesn't make me happy that their parents are constantly pressuring them to perform at a level which makes school way too important and undermines the actual personal development of the individual student. And I think more focus should be placed on that at home. That instead of parents constantly asking their kids, how was school and how are you doing in school and how are you going to do better in school, I think there needs to be a move at home from parents to their kids with more conversations on, hey, how are you today? Are you happy today? How are you going to improve as a person today? All right? Did you practice gratitude today? And I think in developing those qualities, and sometimes it's hard because if you're a parent that works 9 to 5 or sometimes 9 to 7, you come home, you're stressed, you're tired, and it's tiring. I know. At the end of the day, those are the drivers. Developing the qualities, the character of success for the kids, for the students, those are the kind of factors that would actually increase their performance in school, their learning. And so let me add to that a little bit. So what can you really do instead of punishing your kid? Like instead of being like, you're grounded, which works if you're doing it based off of the consequence, as long as you're not attacking the characters. But what is something else, an alternative method that you can use, right? So what I like to do is I like to get them to figure out the effects of their actions on themselves and on others. So first of all, I really like to ask them in a non-threatening, non-judgmental way. What happened, right? Like, tell me exactly what happened. What did he say? What did she say? What did you say? How did you react? Let's figure this stuff out, because I want to understand. Like, I want to understand from your perspective what happened. I want to get to know your situation so we can make things better, okay? Because things aren't good right now, and you know that. And so from that point, after you actually genuinely are interested and you figure out the situation and you make sure that they understand that you understand what's going on, you want to figure out, all right, effects on people, right? So how did what happened, what you did, affect other people? How do you think they felt? How do you think they're handling it right now? And how are you handling it right now? Do you feel better? Do you feel worse? Like, how do you feel right now? Figuring out the emotions behind it, because that's where it gets personal, right? Like, not just what happened, but getting personal with the emotions and the feelings and the motivations. Why do you think that happened? And then really moving forward and being like, all right, like next time if a similar situation, if a similar cue came up, what can you do differently so that the result isn't like this time? Because obviously this time the result wasn't that great. Really, this process is meant to help students really understand the effects of their actions, their words on others, how it makes others feel, how it affects others, and how it makes them feel instead, but also give them a plan of reaction the next time something like this happens, so they can actually be proactive with their reactions towards certain circumstances or situations. And I think this method needs to also be reciprocated. I think a lot of times parents don't take the time, because let's be honest, parents also screw up. Parents also accidentally yell at their kids, and parents actually also lose they're cool unintentionally. We don't usually intentionally get angry and be like, I think I'm gonna yell at you to get this certain result from you, and then you're gonna be a wonderful person because of me yelling at you. That doesn't happen. Usually it's because we lose our, well, not we, as I'm not a parent, but usually it's because we as teachers or you as parents lose your cool. But then afterwards, using the same thing and being like, hey, I think this is what happened. And I think this is how you feel, and I don't want to make you feel this way. I'm sorry for that. And I think modeling an apology is actually putting down your pride in front of your kids really helps them learn something. Like my dad saying sorry to me for something that he did really works. It really does. It really makes me think about the things that I shouldn't do. And it really helps me lowers my guard because it breaks my frame. I don't expect my parents to say sorry. I don't expect my teacher to say sorry. I expect them to be always right, or at least act like they're always right. And the moment they apologize for something, like actually like serious apologize for something, that changes behavior. Because that gives them a different impression of you. It shows them a different side of the parent or of the teacher. So yeah, I think that's something that would be helpful going forward in not just dealing with students and kids, but also dealing with people in general. Because this whole questioning process is just a process of helping people figure themselves out and figure out the effects that they actually have, the power that they actually have on others, so they can use that power responsibly, because with great power comes great responsibility. And with great responsibility will come great power.